Alright. Now watch. Downshift. Look at that. Look at that. Watch. I'm in fifth. Downshift to fourth. Watch my hands. Look at the bike moving. You see that? It's like a Hello?
Back in the cut like Cooper Cut?
What's up, man?
Not too much, man. What you got going on?
Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, man. What's up? You riding today? What's up?
Yeah, I'm out here on the ZX10. Why?
Man, I heard you were about to sell that thing.
Who told you I was about to sell the ZX10, man? How you find that out?
You already know. Ducati Z, brother.
Ducati Z told you that?
Yeah, man. He told us at the BP, man. We're chopping it up, he said.
Ah, man. Yeah, man, I was about to sell it. I ain't gonna lie,
Those
bruh.
quick gas downshifts.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Those things were horrible, man.
Yup, you already know.
Yeah, so what you gonna do, man? Are you gonna keep it, sell it? What up?
Nah, I got it right now.
What's the solution, brother? We need to hear it.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm about to let them know.
Nah, tell me right now, dude. Dude,
All right.
Nah, dude, tell me now, dude.
A lot of y'all probably been wondering where the Cowie been at, man. You've been riding the Tracer a lot. We want to see the Cowie. A lot of people that are subscribed to this channel for Cowie, ZX10 content. Where the hell the Cowie at, man? Crazy part about it is, man, I almost sold the Cowie. Quiet as cat, the Cowie was almost gone, man. I really got to the point to where I was just tired of riding this bad boy, man. I ain't gonna hold you. I put a video out a minute ago talking about the ECU flashing and stuff like that, and the whole whirlwind that all of us are being put through when it comes to trying to optimize the bike and not really knowing what we got going on, and they not knowing what they got going on. Everybody is figuring it out, from the customer to the people that's selling these flashes. But I got frustrated, man, and I made some major changes. But this bike was almost out the door, man. I had my eyes on a whole nother bike. And I kind of feel bad that I did that. But all of this was due to me not knowing what I was getting into when I was flashing the ECU on this bike, doing dyno tune and all that old goofy stuff. We're gonna chop it up, man. We're gonna chop it up. So you go to the dealership, you get your bike, whatever kind of bike it is, you get the bike, you ride the bike, you start researching the bike, and then you pop up on ECU flashing, getting the max horsepower out the bike and all that cool stuff. If you get on YouTube, you see cats with the same bike on the dyno, horsepower numbers coming back, and you're like, what the hell is this? My bike said that it's gonna make 200 horsepower out the gate. Then you look at the people flashing the bike and they're like, oh, it's only making 160. But if you flash the bike, we can get you 200 out the bike. So you're like, whoa, I thought I was buying a ZX10 and they got me riding a ZX6. No, you know, no dirt on the ZX6, but horsepower numbers. They got me riding a ZX6. I need to get this ZX fixed. So the first thing you doing, you're like, all right, let me go ahead and get this ECU flashed or whatever it is. Let me just get the ECU flash. That's what I did. That was my experience. You see how I made that jump from buying the bike, not knowing what the hell the horsepower numbers and all that stuff was, to immediately going to get the ECU flash. That got me in a world of trouble, man. But it didn't start off as trouble. I made a previous video about this, how I went from the BT Moto Flash, then I got the dyno tune, then I wanted to get the bangs and pops, so I went to the Woolwich Flash, had the bangs and pops, then it left me with a bike that I was ready to drop. Then it left me with a bike that I was mad that I copped. Then it left me with a bike that had me I was ready to sock and drop, pop, rock, all that. But anyways, I was ready to sell this bike because I just couldn't handle the downshifts. If you don't believe me, I'm gonna put up a little clip right here. Watch my hands. Look at the bike moving. You see that? Now the crazy part is, after you see those downshifts, you're like, man, how was you riding that bike with those downshifts? Or you're like, oh, the downshifts aren't that bad. All you gotta do is squeeze in the clutch, this, that, and the third. See, my issue is, I paid a lot of money for those downshifts to be supreme. You know what I'm saying? Why aren't the downshifts supreme? Well, there's a whole bunch of explanations. I'm sure you guys can jump in the comments and explain why the downshifts aren't supreme, but I'm not trying to get into that. Most people that get the ECU flashes or tunes aren't trying to get into that. But we still would like a logical explanation on why it was this issue with this bike. All my ZX10 pros, y'all can jump down in the comments and let me know why it was the issue with this bike. But long story short, I got tired of those downshifts. Now the crazy part is, with my Tracer 9 GT, it moves perfectly, shifts perfectly. It was shifting perfectly stock. Thing is I got tired of the downshifts. I'm like, I just can't do it. I gotta get rid of this bike. I wanna start all over because I learned a lot about this ECU stuff, and I learned that a lot of times when it's new bikes, the people that do the ECU flashing and stuff like that, they know what they're talking about to an extent, but if it's a new bike, the people that are purchasing these flashes are gonna be the guinea pigs. And I guess that's what I was. I was the guinea pig for this bike. And so many others that have this bike, that have those flashes with the hard downshifts, we were the guinea pigs. But that was the reason why I was ready to sell that bike. But I found a fix. So before we get into this, I'm not gonna name any companies, any shops or anything like that for several different reasons. But basically what happened was I got a flash from one company. The flash was decent, gave me good power, the shifts were perfect and everything like that, but the air-fuel ratio was crazy. I explained it in another video. The power was not that good either. But the advertisement said the power would be like this. The advertisement also said that I may need a piggyback device to iron out the air-fuel ratio. But for the price that I paid for the flash, I didn't think I would need to do all of that. And honestly, I didn't know all about that when I first got the flash. So I purchased the flash, I get the flash on the bike. I'm not knowing all of this stuff, but I take it up to the dyno to get the dyno numbers. For those of you who don't know what a dyno is, the dyno basically tests out the power and the air-fuel ratio of the bike. So I take it up to the shop, get it put on the dyno, and that's how I find out the power isn't all that good and the air-fuel ratio isn't all that good. Why is this important? Because if I never took it to the dyno, I would have never known that. I would have paid the money for what's listed in the advertisement, and I would have thought I've been riding around with this awesome bike until I take it out there, race somebody, and end up getting dusted and disgusted. Or I go to a dyno day, and I'm like, damn, I got played. You feel what I'm saying? So long story short, the place where I take it to get dynoed at, they tell me, they inform me, they're like, look, it's not how it should be. But what we can do is we can dyno tune it. Now, dyno tuning is when they actually go in and figure out the real numbers. Dyno tuning is the ideal way. ECU flashing is cool, but the full dyno tune is the ideal way. In your spare time, go look up what a dyno tune does as opposed to an ECU flash. But basically the gist of it, the dyno tune gives you the ability to adjust the air-fuel ratio and get the maximum amount out of each gear, out of the throttle, from 0% to 100%. Go look it up and figure it out. But anyways, they tell me we can dyno tune this bad boy and get everything straight. We can get the air-fuel ratio ironed out. So that's what we did. We got a dyno tune, air-fuel ratio ironed out. The thing was riding perfect and lovely. Then here's where social media and the internet strikes. I saw somebody with a bike and the bike was having the pops, pow, pow, pow. And I'm like, you know what? I love the way the pops sound on the bike. I need the pops. This is where all the real trouble started. So I'm like, all right, I need the pops. So I go to the tuner. I'm like, hey, can we get the pops on this bike? Tuner like, yeah, we can get the pops on the bike. But long story short, go check out the video, but I'm gonna make this real short for the sake of this video. But we're gonna have to flash it with a different flashing software, and then we can put the pops on the bike. Cool, let's do it. We flash it with the new software, get the pops on the bike. Now, the pops are on the bike, everybody's happy until the downshift start. When the downshift start, I'm getting this. Wash my hands. Look at the bike moving. You see that? So I'm like, nah, we gotta fix this. Like, I can't ride around like this. So the shop and we were looking around for information, and everybody who had this bike, this specific bike, everybody who had this specific bike, had this bike flash from this specific software, had this specific problem. If you got this bike, please jump in the comments and tell them I ain't lying. But anyways, we couldn't figure out a solid answer. I even personally emailed the software company that does the flashing for this bike, and they sent me back an email talking about how, you know, a tuner should be able to do it, this, that, and the third. I'm like, all right, it's getting a little, you know, whatever. So, end of the story goes, price is paid, money is paid, 2 different flashes on the bike, and the shifts are horrible. I mean, absolutely trash. So be it that the shifts are horrible, and I'm trying to get over it, I'm trying to find a workaway around it. I'm like, all right, maybe I can pull in the clutch and do the downshifts, or maybe I can downshift at a higher RPM. But it was just bothering me. Every ride, it just irked me. It irked me so much. It irked me. So, you know, I go up to the shop and we're like, all right, we kind of find a solution. We can get the shifts a little bit softer, but the on and off throttle is going to be a little bit more twitchy. So I'm like, all right. I don't know what that means until I get on the bike. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I get on the bike. The shifts are A1 now. The downshift is smooth. But when I get back on the throttle, there's a pause. And you can see it in one of my videos. I'll put the card up here. It's one of my Get Nifty in the Twisties videos. But you can see it where I'm all the way off the throttle and I get back on the throttle, but I'm twisting the throttle here and it doesn't kick in until here. So the throttle's supposed to kick in as soon as you get on it. I'm twisting it and I'm probably like 10% and then the throttle kicks in. Not a big deal until you leaned over on the bike in the middle of the curb and you got this much of a contact patch and that bike does that. It doesn't feel good. So I'm like, all right, this is getting crazy. It's like a sacrifice. For the downshifts, you sacrifice the on and off throttle. So take it back up there. I'm like, all right, I need that throttle to come right back on because I like the curves. I'm always in the curves. I need that throttle because I'm not getting confidence. So we switch it back up. I got the throttle back. It's A1. Now this is tuned and all of that. It's tuned. The throttle was back. It's A1, but the shifts are rugged. I'll show you once again. Watch my hands. Look at the bike moving. You see that? Now, for the sake of the video, I'm just saying it like it happened extremely quick, but all of this goes on within about a year, maybe more of a year of me riding and trying to get things fixed. So eventually I got to the point to where like, I just don't like riding a bike anymore. So that's probably why you haven't seen it on the channel as much, and also it's a sport bike compared to the comfortable sport touring bike, the Tracer 9 GT. But I got tired of riding this bike, so I was ready to sell it. Then I got the solution. The solution was to go back to the original person that flashed the bike, get that flash because I love the shifts. But it was to go back to the original person and read the fine print where it says, add a piggyback device to iron out the air-fuel ratio. So that's what I did. Now, the piggyback device was already on the bike. The piggyback device was installed on the bike by the same company that installed the software on the bike that had the horrible downshifts. So I already have the piggyback device, which is the Power Commander. So for those of you who don't know, the Power Commander basically gives you the ability to dyno tune the bike. It gives the tuner the ability to adjust the amount of fueling that is needed for the bike to make the correct air-fuel ratio. So we put the Power Commander on, it's already installed. Now, I get the reflash from the original company. Me already knowing, I know the fueling is gonna be off because they don't have my bike and they don't have the ability to be able to put it on a dyno tune and dial in the fueling. So I'm like, all right, I got the piggyback device. Then I'm like, okay, what's this other part in that fine print? Auto tuner. I'm like, I need to get an auto tuner. After doing some research, of course, I'm like, I need to get an auto tuner. And that auto tuner has saved the day. So this is what was in the fine print. This right here is the piggyback device, and right under here is the auto tuner. This is the solution. This has my ZX10 running like it's World SBK, MotoGP, Moto America, BSB. It is running so smooth. It is running the best. This is the solution. But The only issue is I don't have the bangs and pops anymore, man. Oh yeah. But let me break this down. So this is the Power Commander. The Power Commander is a fuel injection module. What that does is it tells the bike how much fueling is needed to make the perfect air-fuel ratio. What does the auto tuner do? The auto tuner basically lets you set the values for what you want the air-fuel ratio to be. So if you want it to be 12.5, 13.8, 14.1, 15, whatever, you can set it and be like, all right, I want it to be 13.8 at 5% throttle at 1500 RPM. And what it'll do is it'll read from the O2 sensor down there and say, hey, if you want your bike to be at 14.1 air-fuel ratio, you need to add 10% more fuel. What will happen is the auto tune will save those values inside of software, and you can send those values to the Power Commander. The Power Commander will then be like, all right, let's add 10% more fuel to meet that ratio. And that, my friends, is what you call a perfect running bike. So here's the thing. I didn't know anything about this stuff. 9 out of 10 people out there that's about to go get their ECU flash tomorrow doesn't know about this stuff. I had to pay a lot of money, do a lot of trips to the shop, do a lot of emails to these people, It was a real deal nightmare. Like I said, it got to the point to where I was ready to sell the damn bike and just be done with it. I got so frustrated, I started doing research and started figuring out, what the hell am I doing? I went and got that snack off the shelf and I looked at the nutritional facts. I used to just get the snack and eat it. But then I started looking at the nutritional facts and I saw some of the ingredients. I'm like, I don't want this. I might need to get another one that doesn't have this in it. Or this doesn't have this in it. I might get another snack that looks like it, but need that in it. So I did that research, and this is the solution I came to. Now my bike is running smooth, it's running perfect. Sorry that you guys haven't seen the ZX10. We got this bad boy back working. If you have this bike, jump in the comments, let me know. If you went through the same situation, if you went through an ECU flashing situation, there's people out there with all kind of bikes. It's not just with the ZX10. There's people out there that got the ECU flash on all kind of bike, and the ECU flash is worse than stock. This is why you need to go to a reputable dealer, a reputable shop like the shop I went to that actually put it on the dyno and showed me. It's your boy Six. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Be careful when you're doing all this stuff with the bike, man. I know you get the bike and start getting hype, but I'm telling you, if you're gonna do it right. It's your boy Six. Stay in the fight. I'm gone. Peace.